Gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Tiffany.
Attorney General, during the department's criminal investigation of Hunter Biden, investigators gave Hunter's counsel a heads up regarding their future investigative actions, specifically a pending search warrant. Does the Department of Justice usually tip off the defense counsel ahead of time to warn them that they'll be executing a search warrant?
You're asking me about a case that's in trial as we speak, and I'm just not going to comment on it. I think that's highly inappropriate for me to do.
Oh, this would not be inappropriate at all. Do you warn defense counsel ahead of time? Is this a standard operating procedure for the Department of Justice to notify that you're going to execute a search warrant?
I think I've answered this question before. It depends on the situation. In some circumstances, yes. In some circumstances, no. Generally not, but
so shortly after,
always.
If I may interrupt, shortly after the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago, you said upholding the rule of law means applying the law evenly without fear or favor. Did the Department of Justice give the same courtesy to President Trump's counsel and warn them about the search warrant for Mar-a-Lago?
Saying the issues are determined on the ground with respect to what people are concerned about on the ground. That issue about Mar-a-Lago is also the subject of a challenge in court, and I'm not going to comment about that either.
So one, you notified defense counsel, the other one you didn't.
I don't know whether you're accurately describing what happened in the Hunter Biden case or not.
During Special Counsel Herr's investigation into whether or not President Biden retained classified documents, he found that President Biden knew the information in his possession was classified. Isn't that correct?
I don't recall the exact words of Mr. Herr, but they are what they are.
Yeah, I mean, he knew the information. Joe Biden knew the information that he had in his possession was classified. I think that's widely known.
Again, Mr. Herr testified for 5 hours in front of you, and all these questions could be asked of him. And a long report that's on the public record on this question. I'm just not going to comment, just like I didn't comment on Mr. Durham's report when people asked me to do that.
Did then Vice President Biden have the authority to declassify the classified documents he illegally retained?
Mr. Herr addressed any questions like that in his report. I know what you're really asking me about is the case in Florida, and I'm just not going to comment on matters that are being litigated in court. It's highly inappropriate for me to do that.
So you can't comment on something that's already out there publicly by Mr. Herr. Simply, did Vice President Biden, then Vice President, did he have the ability to declassify classified documents?
Mr. Herr,
does any Vice President have the ability to declassify classified documents?
It depends on who the original, I mean, the ultimate theory goes back to an executive order that depends on the originator of the classification.
Have any
This
other,
is a very long discussion about classification.
Have any other former presidents, vice presidents, or cabinet secretaries retained classified information after they left office? Have others done this?
I don't know. Mr. Herr...
Did Vice President Pence have classified documents?
Mr. Herr recounted the information that he had about past
Did former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, did she have classified documents?
Know anything more than Mr. Herr reported in his report on these matters.
How many of those that have had classified documents, either a former Vice President like Pence or Secretary of State like Hillary Clinton, how many of them were charged with retaining classified information?
Mr. Herr explained why he chose not to recommend a charge.
The answer is none of them were charged. And how many of them, none of them were charged other than President Trump. How many of them are currently running for president against President Biden?
Mr. Herr explained in detail the reasons that distinguished former president's case from the current president.
Was there opposition in the Washington field office seeking a search warrant of Mar-a-Lago?
I'm hoping that there's always discussion in field offices about the appropriate approach.
Who gave the go-ahead to do the search?
I know that the reference to the special agent that was made earlier left out the conclusion of his transcript, which is he thought it was lawful.
Who gave the go-ahead to do the search warrant, to execute the search warrant on Mar-a-Lago?
Magistrate judge in the district approved the House. and the Justice Department, as well as between the Congress and the Justice Department, to ensure that political considerations are not taken into consideration. But the principal bulwark of the rule of law is the career workforce of the department, the agents and the prosecutors who do their jobs every day with only one purpose, to do the right thing in every case.
Thank you, Attorney General.